I know we're all number crunching strategists around here, but it's easy to forget that amongst all that math, there's an aesthetic appeal to the games that we love. So today we're going to talk about what the best visually appealing jobs in Final Fantasy Tactics are. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman, and welcome back to the channel. Hello everyone, if you enjoy what I do, including casual fun conversations about the games that we love, such as Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, then a like on this video and a subscription to the channel would be very much appreciated. Thank you so much. So yeah, what is it that we're doing here today? Well, in the last week, I polled you guys in the community to ask what your visually favorite jobs and visually least favorite jobs are in Final Fantasy Tactics. I did this because I was thinking about it. It's like one of the reasons that I fell in love with Tactics before I really got into the mechanics and figuring out how different jobs work, how to unlock different jobs, what strategy even meant, was because it looked really cool. All the sprites running around, all the fun designs of all the different jobs, seeing the different monster designs is a huge part of what drew me into the game, and then I discovered the rest of the magic along the way. And while it's easy to get lost in figuring out and discussing what the most ideal strategies are, how to do X, Y, or Z thing, it's good sometimes to just take a step back and be like, yo, Dragoons are really cool though. Look at my awesome dude with his dragon helmet and his silver armor and his red cape and he jumps on things. That's so cool, man. We have to remember the fun of video games beyond just the analytics of it. With my own self-indulgent reasoning out of the way, let's discuss your guys' results and see what you think are the absolute cream of the crop when it comes to the best-looking jobs in Final Fantasy Tactics. Voted number 5th best looking job in Final Fantasy Tactics is Dancer. I'm not surprised to see her on this list, although I am kind of surprised to see that she is only in 5th. You know, there's just something to be said for the raw sex appeal of an attractive female character that is always going to draw some level of attention. But beyond just that, I do think it is a really fun design. It harkens to the assassins Celia and Letier, which is one of the reasons that a few people gave as to liking it so much. But overall, it just stands out. It's very starkly different from most of the other jobs in the game, on top of being well designed at that. It's got a nice complementary color palette with lots of browns and golds, and it's not overly ostentatious while still showing like this is less of a combatant and more of an artist, a show person with golden belts and bangles on the arms. It's an interesting way to do a sexy character design in this style in a game that really does not have anything in the way of major fan service, while also not being super fan servicey in and of itself. It's very classy and elegant in its design, and I do really enjoy that about it. You know, I'm not here for anime waifu girls in my Final Fantasy Tactics, but if you're going to get close to it with something like the Dancer, I certainly will not complain, and I do think that it has been handled very well here. Let's be honest, if it was overly fan servicey, I think it would actually be a detriment. It would not fit in with the game at all. You have to have a certain style and a certain intent to make that type of thing work in a world, and Tactics and Ivalice are not that world, in my humble opinion, of course. Moving on to number 4, we actually have a surprising one for me. I did not think that this was going to do as well as it did, but it got quite a number of comments about it. It's female samurai. Very interesting. Now, I gotta be honest, right off the cuff, this is not gonna be one of my top picks. It's not a bad job in terms of design by any means. I do like it, but compared to some of the other options out there, I was amazed to see this one get that much traction, but it really did. But you know what? I get it. I really enjoy the red armored gauntlets, how they stand out from the rest of the color and the design of the unit. You have a sort of almost like shrine maiden-y dress going on. I could see this being a unit that would be wielding something more like a naginata than a katana. If there was a newer version of the game, that might be something that it would actually do. It definitely has that sort of shrine maiden feeling to it, but it's got a badass headband, a cool ponytail, and the colors do complement it very, very well. It stands out very distinctly from the male counterpart of samurai, which I do also enjoy. Even though personally I do like male samurai more than female samurai, just in terms of pure design, I do totally get this one. I especially enjoy the fact that you can actually see that the samurai is wearing sandals in its sprite. It's a very small detail, but you can see the tiny little straps on her feet, which is just a cute little detail and shows the strength of the actual sprite work in FFT, that you can get small details like that in here. Speaking of the sprite work, some of the jobs in the game maybe don't feel like they match up 100% to their actual full like splash art character art, but Female Samurai really does. You've got the ponytail, you've got the red and white bandana, you've got the dress, you've got the gloves, you've got the sandals. Really the only thing that they didn't manage to get on here, and I can totally understand why, is the striping on the like shirt mantle thing that she's wearing. But even then, it has the blue on it, so you still get that visual effect. All told, it was really exciting actually to see a job that I was not expecting to get such a good performance up here in the top 5. Good on you guys for supporting a very underdog option. Getting into our top 3 now, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised to see these ones here, though you may be surprised at the order in which they appear. First off, in number 3, it's Black Mage. You knew it had to be Black Mage. He had to be here. If you're talking about Black Mages in Final Fantasy, this is one of the most well-known and most often seen and utilized versions of the job in the entire franchise. Striped green and white pants and all. I mean, really, what can you say about this that would make it seem any less awesome than it already is? The huge blue mantle that hides the face, the glowing eyes, the giant yellow straw hat. Like, what a fun way to do a wizard hat. Kind of shows that, like, okay, maybe this person comes from lesser means. They don't have a fancy embroidered wizard hat. Theirs is made out of straw man, and you know what? It looks great. The blues and the yellows complement each other. The very starkly colored green and white pants definitely stand out. You got the big gloves, you've got the staff. It's a very, very fun design. The number of times that I've seen people just around the internet with either the normal little splash icon that you have next to your health as a profile picture or a cropped version of the entire splash art as a profile picture shows that there is a huge cultural impact for this particular art of Black Mage across the internet. Maybe even with a lot of people who've never even played FFT, they just know this version of it. I think that speaks extremely highly to the design. Is it kind of goofy? Yeah. Does it definitely look like it's someone who would know how to cast flare and blow your ass up? Also, yeah, I love it. It's great to see here. Next up for number 2, again, not at all surprised to see this one here. We had a ton of votes for Knight. I mean, it's a classic, right? You, as a young kid, the first time that you saw a character turn into a knight, or you saw a knight on the battlefield, you're like, what is that? Especially if you had like your little squires and chemists and you walk into Dorter for the first time and there's this guy with the green cloak and the gloves and the boots, and he looks big, he looks tough, he looks like he's gonna mess you up. And it's very likely that he did the first time you went into Dorter. Really, what else needs to be said? Like, a knight is a knight. They've captured the imaginations of boys and girls and scholars and historians, nonetheless, for centuries of human history, ever since their inception. The romantic idea of someone fighting, putting their life on the line for a cause they believe in while being honorable and stout in those beliefs as well. Heavy armor, big swords. I mean, you just gotta love it. And the Final Fantasy Tactics Knights in particular are stellar. Now, one thing that I will say, even though I do love the sprite and the artwork for Male Knight, they don't actually match up as well as something like Female Samurai. You can see on the art, there's a lot more kind of extravagant coloring, almost like they're like a Lansknecht or something, which I know I'm not pronouncing properly. I've never been able to pronounce it properly. By all means, tell me that I'm not pronouncing it properly in the comments. I beg of you, I've not heard it enough before. Not really reflected on the actual sprite though, which again, I get there's so much intricate detail in the actual full art of Knight that it would be hard to get that to translate to the sprite, but for what they do have, it does work extremely well. And then, of course, if you start getting into the different iterations of the sprite work of Knight from all the different factions in the game, Lionel Knights in particular, oh, beautiful with the red cloaks, they look phenomenal. Now, Knight is an absolutely stellar design, and I think, honestly, a big part of the reason that I enjoy using them so much is just because they look so cool. And if that isn't the sign of a phenomenal piece of art and good character design, I don't know what is. Now, finally, we just mentioned how cool red cloaks are when we were talking about Lionel Knights. So it's maybe not a surprise that our big winner for the best designs category in FFT has a big old red cloak himself. He really does not need any introduction. It's Male Dragoon, baby! There's a reason that I had the intro to this topic be discussing how awesome Dragoon is, because I mean, look at these guys. Talk about an epitome of like an okay, not quite mediocre, but definitely not great job being elevated by how sick it looks. I mean, the silver dragon skull helmet, the silver armor, the big brown boots, the red, almost velvety looking outfit with the cape. And then that's just on the sprite. You get to the full art itself, the detail on the pauldrons, all the different belts, the big spear. It's just such a sick looking job, dude. And it's amazing because it manages to recreate the effect of seeing a knight for the first time in the same game. Like, you just take it to another level, because it's like, all right, knights are pretty scary when you first see them. They do a lot of damage, they're tanky, but then you start to figure them out over time, right? Then you get to like the midway point of chapter 3, and you run into your first dragoon. You're like, what the hell is that? It's like a super knight. And you look at it, they've got spears and they jump at things. You're like, what the hell is going on, man? They're faster, they're stronger, they're just scarier all around. It's just so sick, and it's all complemented by that awesome design. You know, thinking back on it now, much like some of the other jobs like Black Mage, Dragoon/Lancer is such an entrenched part of the history of Final Fantasy, even by the time the tactics came out, let alone since then, that having a sick design for it was absolutely vital. And I think even though it's not anywhere near as flashy or ostentatious as some other past iterations, like say Kain from Final Fantasy IV, it fits the world, it fits the universe of FFT, much like Dancer does, that we mentioned at the top of the video, and still manages to look fancy and ornate and awesome and dangerous. And of course, I think that means it very easily deserves the top spot here. Huge props to Dragoon and all 5 of our top 5. I do think that each and every one of these does deserve at least a mention, even if I'm a little questioning on female samurai. I do still get it. It does look awesome. And I think if I had to give my own personal input on a job that I would like to see up here as well, it would have to be male summoner. I love summoners. It had the same effect for me that Dragoon did for seeing like a new type of a caster on the field instead of a new type of like a heavy armor knight, because I was getting used to black mages and white mages and things like that. And then you see a summoner, you're like, what is this dude with the cloak and the big red horn on his head? And then he summons and there's these orbs that come out of him, like deity comes down from the sky to blow you up. It's like, oh my god, they look so cool. I absolutely adore summoners. I adore summoners design both for male and female. I think male takes it for me slightly because I'm not as much of a fan of the rounded shape of female summoner with the way the cloak is, but either way, I love them both, and I do think that they, for me, would personally be in my top 5. They would probably bump out female samurai. Maybe I'd leave Dancer in there, maybe I'd swap them for something else as well, but at the very least, I would definitely have summoner up there. And that, my friends, is the top 5 best looking jobs in Final Fantasy Tactics, according to you, the community, with a little bit of commentary and input from yours truly as well. This is a fun one to talk about. I like being able to just get into tactics and talk about aspects of it without having to go super in-depth on a specific mechanic or the way X, Y, or Z fight should be handled or whatever. It's good to just sit back and chat about it sometimes, so I hope that you guys enjoyed it as well. When we come back, we'll do the top 5 worst looking jobs as voted by you guys, which is going to be very interesting. There's some spicy choices on there. I think people might get a little heated about it, but we shall see. This is, again, not my choice, but the choices of the community, so you can fight amongst yourselves about it. And then, of course, we have plenty of other guides coming up. I'm actively working on the massive comprehensive job overview for FFT for the generic jobs, and we'll do the unique jobs, monsters, like all that type of fun stuff like we always do. Working on the Stealing Elmdor's Genji gear video as well, and a few other things, as well as plenty of other ideas that I have. So lots more tactics to come. For now, though, I'm going to wrap this one up here. My name has been Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you all have a good night. Stay safe and healthy out there, everybody. And remember, be good to each other, y'all. Bye now.